Hey YouTube, it's great to be back on your screens. It's been 4 months since my last talking to camera YouTube video, so I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. But this year is all about creativity, content creation, and collaboration, so I promise to be more regular on the uploads. Today's video is actually in response to a Q&A that I opened up on Instagram a few weeks ago about my trip to Namibia in Africa for Daniela and Bilal's magical elopement. When I think back to creating the trailer for their video, I think the thing that really finishes it off is the soundtrack. And I want to say thank you to the sponsors of this video, MusicBed. Whether you're shooting weddings or commercials, take your projects and films to the next level with MusicBed. Stay tuned later in the video for an exclusive discount from MusicBed. By the way, for those that are interested, this video is being shot on the new LUMIX S5II. I wish I had that when I was in Africa. Would have made my kit a lot lighter for hiking up those mountains. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have autofocus and face tracking within the zone that I've defined. So that is just a brilliant addition to this new model. Another thing, I'm using a variable ND from K&F Concept, which has got a variable ND, but it's also got a bit of a mist filter as well, which is why the lights either side of me have got a very nice bloom to them. This trip was a once in a lifetime experience, and because it was so unique, I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask me some questions. So today's video is going to be a Q&A session about how I shot the video, what kind of kit I took with me, what it was like working in completely different conditions to what I'm used to working in. So yeah, thank you to everybody who submitted questions for this video. Now, in case you're not familiar with what an elopement is basically a wedding, but there's no guests, there's no friends and family. It is purely based around the story of the couple. There are a lot of reasons why people might choose to elope rather than having a massive wedding. Number one, the cost. Then there's the locations. You can be a lot more flexible with where you elope, whether that be on a cliff top or a beach, or in this case, the middle of the Namibian desert. I love shooting elopements because there's something so special about it being just the couple. From a video and photo side as well, there's so many more opportunities that you can take to create a story, different locations, and just being able to spend that time across that week in October with just the couple, photographer, hair and makeup artist, and the planner and me was a real eye-opener to how weddings are changing and evolving, and more about exactly what the couple wants to do on their wedding day rather than considering the wishes of their friends and family and other guests. So an elopement is a super special way to get married without having to worry about what other people think, and just, yeah, doing exactly what you guys want. So I'm going to give you a bit of backstory about Daniela and Bilal's wedding. So they have family in different countries all across the world. They absolutely love to travel. So for them, having an elopement made perfect sense. It was just the two of them, no friends, no family, just their wedding suppliers. So there was me, there was Rebecca doing wedding photography, there was Storm doing hair and makeup, and then the lovely Valentina from the Stars Inside. She planned and styled the whole event for them. So there was a team of 4 wedding creatives in total, and then just the couple. So we traveled around Namibia as a group of 6. We went in 4x4s across the desert. We got in tiny little planes to travel to where the desert meets the sea at Sandwich Harbour. And yeah, it was just a really incredible, eye-opening trip. Something so different to anything I've ever done before. And yeah, it was just magic. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop the questions on the screen, and then I'm gonna just go through them like this. So let's start with the first one of how did the couple find me? So the answer, you'll be pleased to know, is YouTube. So back in 2019, I traveled to Santorini to take part in a style shoot with the same team, so with Rebecca, Valentina and Storm, and we were just creating content for our portfolios with our now friends Will and Jess, who were modelling for us. So yeah, I took a gamble last minute and joined the team in Santorini, and yeah, it really put destination weddings and elopements on the radar for me. I believe the video has got something like 30,000 views last time I checked, and I'm very fortunate that now, even 4 years later, I'm still getting quite a lot of elopements and destination weddings referred to me from that YouTube video. So yeah, my advice really would be that if you are looking to expand your wedding video or photo portfolio to destination weddings, you've got to have that content to be able to show people what you can do, that you can work in different conditions, and that you're willing to travel. So having that as part of my portfolio has really opened up a lot of exposure to getting destination inquiries. So the answer to that question is they found me on YouTube. Okay, so the next question is, how did I choose what lenses to bring being so remote? So I knew that we were going to be doing hot air balloon rides and traveling in small planes with weight restrictions and hiking up mountains of sand. So I think in total I took just 3 lenses. I took the 35, 50 and 85, and because I was only taking 2 cameras, I knew that I'd be able to swap them between bodies as well. So yeah, I just needed to limit how many I was taking. So yeah, 35mm, 50mm and 85. I used the 35 pretty much for the whole time, with the exception of adding the 85 onto the S1 on a tripod for their elopement ceremony. So yeah, I was a bit worried about taking my Ronin 4D just because of the weight of it. And I knew that it's gonna be very hot, I knew it's gonna be very sandy, so I needed something that was small, compact, that I could fit into a backpack, something that was still gonna give me a really cinematic look. So I decided on taking the LUMIX S5 and the S1. They were kind of rigged up in a cage with my Samyang Cine lenses. So I was able to swap lenses depending on which setup I was taking out with me for the day. I actually decided to travel as light as I can, just because, again, the weight restrictions on the smaller planes. So I decided to take a 35, which is my favorite, the 35mm T1.5 VDSLR from Samyang. Is probably my favorite lens, and it's also one of the cheapest lenses that I own as well. And that is in EF mount, so it's a Canon mount, but I was able to put that on my LUMIX bodies with the Photo Deox variable ND EF to L mount adapter, so I didn't need to take any additional screw-on ND filters with me, which was great. How much creative control did you take compared to just rolling with the punches? Now this is a good one, because I think most weddings you have to balance out not only just capturing what's happening in the moment, but also being able to step in with some creative control for the couple portraits and the kind of shots that the fun shots that people see on your Instagram, on your website, on your YouTube, that they put their trust in you to be able to not stage, but to be able to give the right prompts and those kind of things. So luckily, Daniela and Bilal were really open-minded with all of our ideas, working around lighting, prompts. Yeah, they really trusted us in terms of being able to give them the prompts and just stay relaxed and enjoy the whole experience. So we had quite a lot of creative control. It's still really important when working with couples to make sure that even if you do give them prompts that are going to be helpful for the photo and video, like little actions, bits of advice on how to get the most flattering result, that they are still themselves, because they want to be able to look back on the video and photos and be like, yeah, you know, that is still us having fun, being ourselves, but at the same time working with their wedding creative team to get the best overall look. So I had quite a lot of creative control, so I'm very grateful for their trust in that. Because it was an elopement and there was no guests or set timings, we were able to have the flexibility to work around when the sunset was, and to be able to just have complete creative control over the locations and the timing. So that was really nice compared to a normal wedding ceremony where you're kind of running to a really tight schedule because you've got guests, you've got suppliers, and you've got all of those other things to consider. So we were really able to curate and create a timeline that worked with each of the supplier involved, just to make sure that we were getting the best for the video and the photos. How did you plan the locations before the event? So I'm very grateful to be able to work with Valentina from The Stars Inside, who is a luxury wedding planner, and she does months and months of research, reaching out to venues and travel agents to make sure that we have all of the locations kind of pre-planned in a summary. She'll also feed back to both myself and the photographer to make sure that we're looking at the right places at the right time. So for things like sunset, or if we have to consider tourists in some areas, then we have to take that into consideration as well. So I'm very grateful that Valentina was able to work with the local suppliers to find the best locations for the ceremony and also the couple shoots as well. This is a big one. Any tips for other wedding videographers who want to book something like this? Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna just say straight away, you are gonna book more of what you share. So I don't share every single wedding that I do because I'm trying to curate my portfolio to be more of a destination international wedding videographer, because that is a business goal that's important to me. If you are not having any international inquiries right now and you're looking to expand your portfolio more towards the destination market, then I definitely recommend either getting a group of suppliers together and being part of a collaborative shoot in maybe even just a European country, just so that you've got some kind of international destination content on your portfolio, and just keep sharing the hell out of it, because that is going to reach new markets and people that are thinking of getting married internationally or eloping. There's also options like workshops who will put on some creative content in wedding format for you in international locations. So that is a great way to be able to have the styling and everything kind of already set up for you. You just go along, take your photo or your videos, and then you'll be able to use that as part of your content. So the main rule here is really, whatever you share, you're gonna get more of. So if you want international bookings, you gotta go out there, invest in yourself, create that content, and then hopefully the bookings will come from there. How did you pick the music for the video? It fits perfectly. So this is an interesting one actually, because on the actual wedding day morning, we were hanging out while Storm was doing Daniela's makeup, and Rebecca had her phone connected to a Bluetooth speaker, and we're just playing some music to kind of set the vibe for the morning. And all of a sudden this song comes on, and it had a really African feel, really uplifting, really positive, and we were all kind of just taking in the moment and listening to this song. And Rebecca said to me, "I'm sure this is on MusicBed," and I said, "No, it sounds too good to be on MusicBed." She said, "Yeah, it is." I took a screenshot of the name of the song, and yeah, sure enough, in the MusicBed app, I found the song, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is the perfect fit for this trip. And that actually brings me on to the sponsor of today's video, MusicBed. MusicBed is my favourite place to find music for my projects, because they work with talented artists and musicians who are passionate about their work. MusicBed has a curated roster of over 1,000 authentic and relevant artists, just like Daniel Deutschel. MusicBed is built around discovery with the filmmaker in mind. On MusicBed, there's over 40,000 songs available for licensing for any project. Finding music is also so easy with their browse and search tools. And you can use anything like genre or mood, or the advanced features like beats per minute and key to find the perfect song. There's also playlists from all my favorite wedding filmmakers. Even my playlist is on there if you want to check that out, and other inspirational filmmakers that I know and love their work. There's so many songs to choose from, and if you're still stuck finding the exact song that you need, you can reach out to their team and they can help you with their complimentary song searches. That song is just so good, and it gives me chills every time I go back and watch their trailer. So yeah, if you're interested in checking out MusicBed to hear the difference yourself, you can sign up for your free account today. And if you use the code RussellNichols23, you're going to get the first month free with any annual subscription. How do you find traveling and working with your gear during elopements? In brackets, it seems harder. Yeah, do you know, each elopement and international wedding is totally different in terms of things like the conditions that you're going to be working in, the amount of, it sounds silly, but even just like Santorini, there's a lot of stairs. So I need to be able to make sure that I'm able to carry my equipment without passing out in the heat. So yeah, each international wedding that I do, the equipment is usually different based on the conditions. My camera bodies were already in small rig cages, so they were kind of protected from impact anyway. But yeah, just making sure that they are really well protected in your luggage. Normally soft luggage isn't an issue, but then depending on which airline you're flying with, there's going to be weight restrictions. So I generally tend to pack all my camera bodies and my batteries and everything in a backpack, and then anything like a tripod and some lenses, I'll sometimes put lenses in a shoe and just make sure they're really protected in case they're being thrown around at baggage control. Another thing I do as well is I always put an air tag in every piece of luggage just so I can track it in case it gets lost. And yeah, just making sure that you're aware of what weather conditions you're going to be working in, and that will really specify and help you narrow down the selection of kit that you're going to take. How on earth did you mic up the bride? Good question. So I was normally for the bride and groom ceremony, I don't normally mic up the bride just because there's the issue of wires, and you can't really keep an eye on where the mic cables are. I guess I don't like to interfere too much with the wedding dress. So normally I would just, if it's a bride and groom, I would just put a lapel mic on the groom and then encourage the couple to stand really close to each other. The only thing is that the groom's audio always does come out a little bit louder than the bride's, just because naturally the microphone is on him with a lapel mic like what I'm wearing now. But yeah, luckily Daniela was totally down for anything that I suggested, and last minute I said, would you mind if I hid a lapel mic on you? So I was using the Rode Wireless Go 2, which has got 2 transmitters into 1 receiver. I've got a white lapel mic and a black lapel mic. So I put the black one on Bilal, and then I put the white one hidden in the back of Daniela's dress. And then we actually used plasters just to stick the white lapel mic to the inside of the top of the dress. So it was hidden away, you couldn't see it. All of the wires were kind of bundled around and tucked in. So I was able to get really clear audio from both Daniela and Bilal.
And when our footsteps have long been blown away by the wind.
And yeah, having the option and for her to be able to trust me with the microphone placement, I think really added to the story, because it was just the two of them. The audio of their vows was really, really important to part of the story. So yeah, thank you Daniela for trusting me with the microphone placement. How do you ensure safekeeping of your gear and drive? So every time I go to a hotel when I'm working abroad, I test the safe, and I always test it empty first, just in case you put something in there and there's a problem and then you've lost your stuff forever. So yeah, always make sure I use the safes while I'm away. I make multiple backups with my laptop of the footage from my SD cards, just in case anything goes wrong or gets stolen. You can never be too careful. Making sure that with my SD cards, I make sure that I keep them on my person all the time. So even when I'm traveling back, I will have my SD cards zipped away in my belt bag, as well as having a copy of the footage on an SSD in my backpack. So yeah, just making sure you've got multiple backups. Never leave anything in plain sight, of course. Always use the safes, so keep your memory cards and storage in the safes. And just common sense of keeping things hidden, not on show. And yeah, I mean, you can never be too careful, but touch wood, nothing bad's happened yet. So that is a wrap on today's video. Thank you so much to everybody that submitted questions for this Q&A, and also a huge thanks again to the sponsors of this video, Music Bed. If you've got any questions about the elopement or Music Bed or wedding videography in general, feel free to leave a comment in the box below. And yeah, I promise to you that there won't be such a big delay in between the next upload, because this year I'm really going for it in terms of content and everything, weddings, behind the scenes, product reviews, all of those kind of things. So yeah, hit that subscribe button if you want to be the first to be notified when I finally uploaded some new stuff. So yeah, thank you very much again to everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.